Stage, which has plenty of climbing, but not to the finish. Stage 16 is the longest of the race, 237 kilometres from Carcassonne, where the riders spent the second rest day, to bagneres de luchon. And it's sort of the Pyrenean equivalent of the traditional alpine stage into Gap. That is to say, a day with a hard climb late on and a fast downhill run to the finish. There are 4 climbs before the big one, the most notable being the Col de Porte d'Aspet at just over 1,000 metres. But it's the 1,700-metre Porte de Balèze where things should get interesting. Anyone with a lead at the top and the nerve to handle the descent could bag the stage win. If it's one of the top 6 desperate to steal seconds off his rivals, all the better for the race.
.8 kilometres still to ride up the Porte de Balèze, and 10 minutes 49, so these riders are not giving much now. The pressure is going on. Michael Rogers, the Australian on Tinko Saxov, followed by Jose Serpa just behind.
Yes, but look who's moving up into 3rd position, the Spanish national champion, Jon Izagirre. Number 72 is just slipping away now. Jan Bakelants, he did a lot of work in the early part of this race, I think, to help his team leader, Kwiatkowski. But Kwiatkowski, at 24 years of age, is struggling just in front of him. There he is, where's number 74? He's hanging onto the back wheel of, for not very long there, Jan Slachter. Also slipping away now, number 88. This rider did a lot of work early on, and that is Matteo Montaguti, the Italian rider on AG2R. The pressure's really turning on.
And there is Richie Porte now, lost a lot of ground. Looking at the riders with him, he's been joined by a teammate in David Lopez to look after him. But this is not a happy scene here. Porte, he's been really hasn't been able to marry up once they lost his leader, Chris Froome, on stage 5. And another attack at the front by Tommy Voeckler. Let's remember, he's won the last 2 visits into Luchon, and he's determined to do it again.
Well, the funny thing is, Phil, he was also the last rider to go over the top in 2010 and 2012 when he went on to win the stage. Now, he knows that if he can get over the top of this climb with a 30 or 40 second advantage, they'll never see him again. Now, let me throw a little bit of history in as well, Phil, because if he could win the stage here for the 3rd time, he would be the first rider to do that since 1961 to win a stage in the same stage town 3 times, and that would go back to one of your very big
Charlie
favorites.
Gore.
Correct. I'm amazed that you knew that.
The Angel of the Mountains, as we called him. Well, we didn't call him, the world called him that. Now he's pulling his tongue out. That's a bad sign for the rest of the race. As Voeckler tries again, that's Jose Serpa, who's come up alongside him. Done the damage again at the back.
Greg van Avermaet from Team BMC slipping away, as too is Kirienka. But just watch how Mick Rogers, Mick is, I have to say, top man here this afternoon. He's the man who's probably got the most experience in a breakaway group like this, and he just allows them to attack and slowly pulls himself back into contention. Well, I'll tell you what, we're getting good value for money here this afternoon, because we've actually got 2 races going on at the same time. We got the race at the front, which was from that 21-man group who have got clear very early on, trying to win the stage here this afternoon. But behind, we've got another race for supremacy in the top positions in the overall standings. And obviously, as Gautier goes again in the back there, Movistar are trying to set up for a last-minute attack, which will come from Alejandro Valverde.
Well, Cyril Gautier did it the other day in the mountains. In the end, he destroyed himself, but he set the moves up, and that's what he's trying to do again. Well, Gautier's riding as well as we've ever seen him. He started as a professional in 2007, 6th this year in Paris-Nice. Look at this now, though. There was a big peloton of riders there before, but now they're all just a few heads of state around the yellow jersey. Boy, this is the first big climb of the top 3 days of high climbing now. This is the Porte de Balèze, and it has blown the field apart here.
Now, Mickey Rogers is back.
Well, he's done all the work too, and look at the way he set his jaw here. The man from Canberra. It's a bit chilly there at this time of the year in Canberra, but he's roasting on the mountain today. As he looks over, sees what's damage he's done there. Jurgen van der Broek here, he's been very disappointing, and he was the first man to tell the Belgian journalist that the other day. He says, my legs just aren't going to go well in the Pyrenees. And it looks like he's absolutely right. It's still Benoit Intausti setting the pace here at the front for Movistar. As we go down the line, we should see the face, and there it is, of Valverde.
But Pierre Rolland, the rider just in the back there, you can see in the dark, the green jersey, who starts the day well up in 10th place overall, is having a spot of bother.
Yeah, but you've still got Laurens Tendam is still here, so too is the white jersey, and Thibaut Pinot is also here. Romain Bardet is here. Pierre Roland, well, he's a big find, and he's gone off the back with a right-hand man here of Vincenzo Nibali. Fulsang also, job done for him today, I think. Gauthier is beginning to yo-yo. He did his best for Vauclair, and I think he's now paying the price.
No, he certainly has. You've got to be very careful how you dose your efforts on a climb like this. You go too hard and too deep too early on, you'll pay for it for the rest of the climb, and you'll never be able to recover. And I think that's exactly what's happening now to Gauthier. So it's down to 3 men leading this race, and Thomas Vauclair will ride on guts. He'll ride on instinct, and he'll want to write his name back in the history books. But, you know, he's an amazing bike rider. He's not really a great climber, but he survives. But he is a very, very good descender. Well, Race Radio is saying as we speak that TJ Van Garderen, who started the day in 5th place in the overall standings, has been dropped.
He suddenly cracked there, sat up, and has lost a little bit of ground, but you know he's closing in. There's still about 4.75 kilometers still to climb for TJ. That's a long way. You can lose a lot of time in that distance.
Got to get yourself composed now. Once you've been dropped, you've got to try and find your rhythm. Make sure you limit your losses over the final few kilometers, and a few risks and daredevil descent. You can pull back sometime. But
there's a move at the front now. Thibaut Pinot, and this young Frenchman is trying to stretch the rest of the race. Is there a reaction? Yes, there is.
It's coming first of all from Nibali, then Valverde, then Perrault, and Bardet, who is 3rd overall at the start of the day, is struggling, the white jersey.
This is the man who will fight here, but if this man in blue gets 16 seconds over that man in white, then the man in blue becomes the man in white.
Yes, wouldn't be surprised, Phil, to see a little acceleration coming from Thomas Vauclair. He's looking for the gap there. He will want to get himself a few points. But look at the flags at the side of the road. It's getting very blustery. The wind is really ripping up here at the top of the first big high spot of the Pyrenees. And Mick Rogers is still very much in control.
And Romain Bardet now just wants this climb to end.
It is so funny the way different riders can ride differently in the 2 mountain ranges, the Alps and the Pyrenees. The climbs are very, very different. These climbs are much narrower, much harder, and the surface is a lot rougher, and I think sometimes they are much more easier. They're easier for a tough guy like Mick Rogers to survive over. He's quite happy to set the tempo here, but, you know, he will be challenged on this descent. If Thomas Vauclair goes over the top of this climb with his leading group of 3, you better put your straps on, Phil, for the descent, because he will go ballistic.
Vauclair wants a way through here. He's on the inside of Serpa, who's taking him on here. Serpa only just lost the previous climb, and he's going to win this one. He's gone clear, so it's Serpa who gets the points. Vauclair will be very annoyed about that. He almost fell off. He gets 2nd, and Michael Rogers 3rd.
Well, that's the very erratic pedalling style of Thomas Vauclair there, but this is 4th and 5th on the road. Vasily Kirienka has not given up, and he's got with him Cyril Gauthier, who's really pulled himself inside out to stay in contact on this climb. Over the top, you can see the flags rippling, indicating the wind is very, very blustery over the top of this climb. It's very rarefied, the air, as we get up here. 1,700.
Well, over the top, the order was Serpa, Vauclair, Michael Rogers, Kirienka. We're now on the way down here. Speeds easily attainable of 60 miles an hour as the riders now try to regroup in that breakaway. They've gone over the top, still with an advantage of 9 minutes. And it reminds me of 2 years ago when the yellow jersey finished 7 minutes behind the day's winner. That was Tommy Vauclair. Johnson, absolutely superb work. His job here is to give 110% and then just get out the way and allow the other rider in blue there, Pinot, to finish it off and claim the white jersey, and probably 3rd overall in the Tour de France tonight. Alejandro Valverde has done nothing here. He hasn't put any attack in. He hasn't tried to hit Nibali. He's just sat in this group. He's 3rd wheel at the moment.
Yes, but just wait and see what his action's going to be like on the descent. It's amazing to see the improvement of Thibaut Pinot in 2nd position there from last year. Bear in mind, he's 24 years of age. He gives Romain Bardet 12 months. Bardet has still got a lot to learn about himself, and at 23 years of age, he's still got a lot of improvement to come in his body before he becomes a serious challenger. Look at Pinot there, accelerating up towards the top, followed immediately there by Valverde and the yellow jersey.
Huge effort now. You saw Janson drop away. His job done for the day and done extremely well. Valverde very alert. He moved immediately on that back wheel of Pinot, and Nibali untroubled following. Bit of aggravation at the front here between the three leaders. They're all arguing now. Nobody's setting the pace. 1 kilometre still to climb here for Romain Bardet, who seems to be losing his third place in the Tour de France tonight, and the white jersey.
That's a big chunk of time. He's about 1.5 minutes behind the yellow jersey group. But, you know, the days can change quite dramatically in the Tour de France, and now all of a sudden Valverde has disappeared because of the attempt here by this man Pinot. Now Pinot is looking at climbing right up in the overall standings tonight. He was only about 29 seconds behind Alejandro Valverde at the start of the day.
29 seconds absolutely right here, and he's seeing second place in his eyes right now, this man in blue. This is the man who walked away from the Tour in tears once because he couldn't descend. He was scared. How much has he improved this year? And now Valverde unshipped there. Meanwhile, further down the mountain, Belgian hoper Jurgen van den Broek riding alone.
So now all of a sudden it looks very much as if Samy Dumoulin has seen the problem of Perrault, and he was in the leading group, let's not forget, of 21 riders, and he's going to do what he can to pace back his teammate Jean-Christophe Perrault. Perrault, though, let's not forget, is a very good mountain biker. He's an Olympic silver medalist, and he will take advantage of the descent. Dumoulin looks over his shoulder, chats, no, I'm okay. The nod of the head there says, no, everything's fine, I will get back into this. Coming back into view now, a little bit further back, John Gadret in the dark blue jersey, followed by Alejandro Valverde. They are now lining it up for probably a half an hour descent. So they've got about 20 kilometers to go, while the leaders are looking at 11. Further down the slopes, the man who started the day in a podium position, his body is not showing out good signs here as he climbs all over his machine to try and keep it going forward. He is riding through a tunnel of noise. The French are trying to will him on to stay up in the top three. Well, they'll be getting a lot of shouting going over race radio because of that press car in there, and he'll be pulled out of the gap very, very quickly. But at the front of the race, all of a sudden, now I've understood why Mick Rogers was not happy. Thomas Voeckler was not participating in the pacemaking at the front because he was waiting for Gautier to come back into the group. So now, once again, Europcar are going to be in a strong position, Phil, with 5 riders in the front group and 2 from Team Europcar.
The summit, as the clouds start to roll in, just a little bit for Romain Bardet because he's losing at the moment his third place overall. 2 more days to come, don't forget, here in the Pyrenees. Enormous crowd here on top of the Balès, but he'll lose that white jersey as well because the man dictating the race from the back just now is Thibaut Pinot, the rider in blue. He's the first of 2 riders, as we're now seeing, and they're really pushing Nibali here, having to try and hold on because he's losing time for the first time to Pinot, but he's got plenty in hand, let's face it.
Phil, Vincenzo Nibali will not panic at a moment like this. As you can see there, he's riding himself slowly back into the group. He starts the day with a massive advantage over Thibaut Pinot, 5 minutes and 6 seconds.
Jurgen van den Broek comes over the top while the leaders have just passed under 10 kilometres from the finish. Virtually all downhill to the line are coming together of 5 riders in the lead now, with the whole peloton broken up into 1s and 2s, and attacked by Michael Rogers, quickly monitored by Voeckler and Serpa, just as Kirienka and Gautier were catching up.
Well, the advantage of having strong numbers is going to go to Thomas Voeckler here this afternoon. Watch out, this is Kirienka's move coming next.
We switched away, but it looked to me like he was building for an attack there as he was taking the most of it. We've gone back to see Romain Bardet on the way down the mountain now. He needs a terrific descent today.
We're looking here at speeds going down this hill. They will be going up to 60 miles an hour in the straights, slowing down to not more than about 45 miles an hour in the corners.
Bauke Mollema just underneath us there as he now tries to get, that's his team car waiting to fall in as Bauke's trying to get back into this race. He started the day 7th overall. back up to the 5 riders in front here at the moment, and there's a demonstration of descending now coming from Thomas Voeckler. He's got control of the head of the race. 8:35 is the gap. The winner comes from these 4 today.
Yes, we're coming closer and closer now, and there is John Gadrape. He's got the upside-down numbers there, just trying to get away the bad luck from number 13. But he did a lot of work a little bit earlier on to try and set something up for his own teammate Alejandro Valverde.
The climbing is over for the first day of 3 in the Pyrenees, but it's all being put on the descent. A totally different skill by these fantastic athletes, and this man's trying to get back into this race in the white.
Five kilometres to go, and there you can see Mick Rogers is just about to pull himself up to the Europe car rider.
This incredible pursuit of this mountain being enacted at probably 80-90 kilometres an hour. They've just gone under 5 kilometres, and Michael Rogers has got across as these two are battling it out.
He took the advantage of a couple of tricky little corners and rode himself across to Gautier. Now this will bode good for Mick Rogers, because this will stop Thomas Voeckler chasing in the group behind, and that's exactly what's happening. They're leaving all of the pace-making up to Vasily Kirienka in the black and blue jersey there of Sky. But you know what? 4 kilometres to go. Mickey Rogers off.
Rogers has gone around Gautier and has now applied the pressure again. This is the rider who won 2 stages in the Giro d'Italia. He finished 18th in that race. He's now in this race, and this will be another possible Tinkoff Saxo win in the memory of Alberto Contador, who's out of this race with a broken leg. These are absolute panic. Kirienka's trying to move away now.
Well, this is a massive chase downhill, and at these speeds, Phil, it's not going to take them very much more than about 4 minutes. Coming across very, very quickly is Kirienka. Kirienka is looking at the back wheel of Gautier. Now, once they catch Gautier, just watch the move and the temperament of Thomas Voeckler, because all of a sudden he won't hold anything back, and he will try and use a couple of corners to get across to Michael Rogers. The gap we're looking at is not much more than 4 or 5 seconds.
3 kilometres to go now as we run down towards the finish. Everybody's coming back together, but not the man from Australia. He has ridden the Tour de France. This is his 10th time in the Tour de France. On one occasion, way back in 2007, he looked as though he was going to win the Tour, and he crashed out when he was in the lead. That was the end of Michael. On a descent as well, need I mention right now, as Michael Rogers now tries to ride away and ride to victory.
Well, we're looking here at the man who started the day in the yellow jersey, continuing to move away from everybody else. But the man who started in 4th place overall, Thibaut Pinot, in the dark blue, the light blue jersey there, he is looking to climb up into a podium position tonight, because he will leapfrog ahead of Romain Bardet.
He'll be on the podium, and that's what he wanted. We're almost into the streets. We are into the streets of Luchon for the lead now. 2 kilometres to go for the chase here. And set at the back here, and I thought I saw a shake of the head there from Thomas Voeckler. He's come down in solitary splendour here in 2010, 2012. Kirienka has put in a move now. Have they left it too late? Here is Michael Rogers of Canberra, who's now trying to get the victory here after 10 years of trying. This will be his first ever stage win in the Tour de France, but it's no time to remind him about what happened to Jack Bauer from New Zealand just 2 days ago.
Mick Rogers is looking at 1.5 kilometres to go now. He realises this is extremely important. Now look at this. Thomas Voeckler is just getting onto the back of Kirienka. It's not very much, Phil. That is 4 or 5 seconds, and it's going to be a real chase right down to the line.
1 kilometre to go. Michael Rogers checks it out, looks over his shoulder. They're not far behind.
Well, it is not very far at all. It's around about 5 or 6 seconds. And, you know, Mick Rogers' body here is yelling out for a little bit of surrender. But he says, no, I'm pushing you just that bit further. He's got a big, wide gap behind him, but they're coming across very, very quickly. Mick Rogers knows this would add to 2 incredible victories in the Giro d'Italia. Cyril Gautier is sacrificing himself behind, but I think it's very late. It's too late for the 4 chasers behind Mick Rogers.
Rogers turns into the home straight now. He might just about see the finish, but it's just off a little bend, the finishing line through the S's. Well, there's the Australian flag, and they've chosen the right day to fly that now. 400 metres to go. 10 times he's ridden the Tour de France. He's never won a stage. He's known the sadness of crashing out when likely he'd be the race leader. Michael Rogers is going to do this, and he just acknowledged that fact. He cannot believe it. What a season. He's back to his best. A pro in 2001, 10 tours. He takes a bow. What a curtain call that is. The sprint for second place, two teammates. Kirienka very, very determined on the right, and that's going to go to the photo. There's Michael. We go back out onto the road. The comparative calmness now, while downtown in Luchon, Michael Rogers celebrates the maillot jaune of the Tour de France. He's still preoccupied with the men all around him.
Well, as I said, Phil, we're looking at two races here this afternoon. The first race has gone to Michael Rogers. The next question is, where will the next race go? Will Thibaut Pinot be in the lead in the Best Young Rider competition tonight? I think pretty much he will. But what a battle it's been. There's been a real shuffling again, and this is only the first of 3 days in the Pyrenees. There's a lot more racing to come, and Alejandro Valverde here is trying to lay down the foundations for him for a podium finish in Paris.
Number 81 at the back. Let's have a look at the picture. Oh, Vogler got second there. Normally the winner here, but this time second in. Great performance, mind you. Kirienka given the third place there. But just looking at number 81 here, Jean-Christophe Perrault. He might well find himself up to fifth tonight. Kwiatkowski has come across the line in seventh place. This is Slackster coming up now, and Tony Galopin, I think it is, alongside him. The top two riders in the Tour de France are still together going down to the finish. Yes,
but Valverde wants a bit more time if he can over Pinot and also over Jean-Christophe Perrault. He's not thinking about distancing the yellow jersey at the moment. He's thinking about consolidating his third place overall. But look at that, all of a sudden, recovery for the man who couldn't go downhill to save his life last year. And here he is, Thibaut Pinot, riding himself back into this race.
Trying to get back on here is Jeremy Roy. He was in the original breakaway. As they go under 4 kilometers to go now.
Further up the climb on this descenter, this man hoping to save his position in the top 10 in the overall standings, because he was dreaming very much of a podium position this year in Paris. He started the day in third place overall. He'll slip away, but he's still in front of TJ Van Garderen on the road. Van Garden's got a couple of teammates up alongside him.
Every second counts. Valverde making that plainly obvious here. But, you know, I've never seen Nibali make a single mistake ever since this race began. He goes with the moves. He won't give them a second.
Well, you saw the little tap there onto the rear end of Pinot. His teammate comes up alongside him and says, come on, onto my wheel. I will pace you to the line here. But very quickly to respond, the rider up into third is Valverde. Jean-Christophe Perrault, I have to say, Phil, at 37 years of age, this man has really come across to the road cycling section from mountain biking a couple of years ago to become a great star, while Nibali, he just watches the race unfold in front of him.
But the man setting the pace here, Jeremy Roy, is just giving everything now to drag every second out of Romain Bardet for number 127. He will take him all the way to the line. Every second puts the white jersey on his shoulders. And this is Leopold Koenig, who's just come out of nowhere.
Yes, and I'm getting information that TJ Van Garderen, the American, has just gone over under the banner, indicating 5 kilometers to go. So he could have lost a good 4 minutes at the end of today's stage, but he has got a couple of teammates up alongside him. He's in a group of about 10 or 12 riders, as Kukulair is up there for Orica Green Edge.
He's just coming back from the original breakaway here, as so too is Jeremy Roy, who continues to drive this race to the line. Thibaut Pinot in second place, the second man in blue. He's going to be the top Frenchman tonight, and he's loving every moment of his journey to Luchon. There's a white jersey awaiting him, and that's why he's going to even sprint to the line. And look at this, Valverde mixing it. You could throw a blanket over these. If there's no gaps between the wheels, they all get the same time, and they'll all go out tomorrow locked together again.
Yeah, but what about the man just getting on the back there, Phil, Leopold Koenig? He could be seeing himself climb up even higher in the standings at the start of the day, 8th, maybe even 7th tonight.
He's a real story, that kid, for NetApp, as they come over the line. Jeremy Roy comes over the line. They're all together all the time to be the same. There'll be changes tonight in the overall classification, because Romain Bardet and TJ Van Garderen, both in the top 5, have yet to finish. And here's the arrival of Romain Bardet here. Well, he was separated by 16 seconds overall from Pinot. They were in third and fourth in the race. The 16 seconds has long since gone by. Pinot up to third tonight. Bardet we'll only know when we find out where Van Garderen is.
Well, Thibaut Pinot is officially climbed up into third place tonight, still 5:06 behind Vincenzo Nibali, but the battle, I'm sure, Phil, will carry on because of the pride of these two young Frenchmen.
You have to ask the question, how much energy has gone out of their bodies today? Here comes the BMC train. They've gone back, they've found TJ Van Garderen. They're trying to save seconds for him right now.
Yeah, well, it's been a tough day for TJ Van Garderen. That's him sitting in third position there behind his teammates. They've done a great job of work. Peter Belic is the rider directly in front of him. He's on the defensive today, but Phil, you know, the Tour de France is a strange beast, and you can have a bad day one day and recover the next. Just behind him, the Sky Rider, by the way, Geraint Thomas. He's had a good incursion, really, into the Pyrenees this afternoon.
Right, let's rewind 12 minutes and start with the result. Michael Rogers took it by 9 seconds from Verkle, Kirienka and Serpa, as good as a mile in the circumstances. Then it was Gauthier, Van Avermaet, Kwiatkowski and Monteguti. That was the stage the GC race was going on behind. Thibaut Pinot led home Alejandro Valverde, Jean-Christophe Perrault and Vincenzo Nibali. Romain Bardet lost 1:50 to Pinot and co. TJ Van Garderen lost 3 minutes 36. With two men in the final group, it had looked like Europe cars staged to lose, and they did lose it to Michael Rogers.
You dream of winning a stage, or every cyclist dreams of winning a stage of the Tour de France since I was a kid. This is my 10th tour. What's sad, it almost makes 210 stages, doesn't it? Well, at least 205 I've been without a win, so it's amazing, you know. I can't describe the joy I felt those last 500 metres when I really knew I was going to win. I hope I don't have to wait another 10 years to experience it again.
Vincenzo Nibali looked vaguely uncomfortable for the first time today, although if that's the full extent of the pressure his race leadership is going to face, he'll be happy with that.
Nel finale c'è stato l'attacco della Movistar sul Port de Balais, un ritmo molto alto e poi in cima siamo rimasti, diciamo, pochi uomini, quelli di classifica. Io, Thibaut Pinot, Valverde, però ho cercato di controllare sempre molto bene la corsa. Alla fine è stata un'altra giornata molto difficile, una tappa molto lunga, però sono contento.
What do you think of the form of Thibaut Pinot, the way he's climbing at the moment? Is he getting stronger?
Ma sì, Thibaut Pinot ha fatto sicuramente una bella azione, perché sicuramente anche il morale per lui era molto buono, vedendo che Bardet si era staccato per cercare di guadagnare più secondi possibili per prendere anche la maglia bianca, per guadagnare anche posizioni in classifica. Ho cercato di controllare molto bene la situazione, sapevo che c'era una discesa molto lunga e alla fine tutto a posto.
So here's how the GC looks after the first and supposedly easiest of 3 days in the Pyrenees. No change in the gap between first and second, but Thibaut Pinot is up to third now and Jean-Christophe Perrault up to fourth ahead of his teammate Romain Bardet. Perrault is 1 minute and 2 seconds behind Pinot, Bardet 1 minute and 34. TJ Van Garderen is down to sixth, 4 minutes 19 seconds behind Thibaut Pinot, 9:25 behind the leader. Leopold Koenig moves up to seventh. Laurens ten Dam is now the leading Dutchman and Belkin rider as he moves ahead and Bauke Mollema slips down. Mollema is now behind Michał Kwiatkowski, who rode himself back into the top 10 today. And in moving on to the third step of the podium overall, Thibaut Pinot is now in possession of the best young rider's white jersey. The man he took it off, Romain Bardet, wasn't speaking after the stage. Pinot and TJ Van Garderen were.
Thibaut, une montée très très forte. Vous êtes peut-être le seul grimpeur de mettre Nibali en difficulté ce Tour de France.
Oui, c'est vrai qu'aujourd'hui j'avais une très grande sensation et je voulais vraiment faire un truc pour distancer mes adversaires. Donc Nibali, il est très fort, il a encore beaucoup d'avance. Donc je regrette plus Valverde, on va dire. J'espère avoir de très grandes jambes demain, après-demain, pour essayer de lâcher encore. Ouais.
Il faut attaquer pour gagner du temps avec le contre-la-montre.
Ouais, je suis obligé d'attaquer pour prendre du temps. J'ai pris du temps sur Van Garderen et Bardet, il faut que j'en prenne encore sur Perrault. Ouais.
Movistar just made an insane tempo and it was just too hard. I don't know, I'm really hoping I can bounce back tomorrow and recover the legs I had in the Alps.
Now, forgotten in the general excitement, Rafael Majka is the new King of the Mountains by a single point from Joaquim Rodriguez and 3 from Vincenzo Nibali. But to put his total of 89 points into perspective, there are 159 available in the next 2 days, 80 of them tomorrow.